Greetings to you, my friends. I am Adamu of the monadic entity of the Pleiadian civilization. In endeavoring to help you to understand your world, your place in the world, we have been telling you about the Dark Elite, a hidden cabal of individuals that run the planet from deep behind the scenes using their Dark Elite system of control. So far, so good. But many of you have begun to speculate, who really are the Dark Elite? Some of you have thought that certain names and identities that you've gleaned from news, from alternative news, from conspiracy theories, might be the Dark Elite. Well, the people that you are pointing to might be a part of the Dark Elite system of control, but the actual Dark Elite, well, that's an entirely other matter. Greetings to you, my friends. I wish to begin to pull back the veil so that you might understand who they really are. And in order to begin this process of revealing their identity to you, I need to begin with myself. In part, this is so that you might understand whether you can trust the message by understanding who is the messenger. In greater part because there is context that needs to be developed. So allow me to broaden your perspective. In brief, Adamu's story begins on a planet in the star system called Lyra. This planet was where galactic humanity began, and I, Adamu, was the first of galactic humanity to step into physical form, a process very different from the birthing that you are familiar with. But be that as it may, there was a truly beautiful, joyous civilization upon that planet, harmonious and full of love, quite paradisical. And that paradise was abruptly, harshly brought to an end when another galactic civilization, known as the Draco Empire, sought dominion and control over our planet. We resisted their control, and so they bombarded us from space, destroying all life upon that planet. Their intention was to genocide us, to end our existence. If we would not bend the knee, then we should cease to exist. Well, we had, in a peculiar manner, been warned of this. And since we had been warned, we had prepared what we'll call light ships. More a spiritual entity than a technological entity, but nonetheless, ships made of consciousness that could ferry beings across the stars. Now, this story, galactic humanity's beginnings in Lyra, the diaspora into the galaxy, the way a large contingent arrived in the Pleiades, and how peace was found in the Pleiades, and how from the Pleiades we springboarded ourselves and reached back out and reached out for the rest of galactic humanity. All of this is a very curious, beautiful, magnificent story, is related in a production that I have produced with Zingdad called Life, Love and Dragons. It's an 8-hour epic to tell that whole story. And if you are remotely curious, and if you like good stories, and if you'd really like to understand why humanity is as it is, and what is humanity's place in the galaxy, well, then I heartily recommend Life, Love and Dragons. So we're not going to reprise that entire story, but just the highlights. I will point out that galactic humanity created an organization called the Galactic Federation of Light. This organization was joined by non-human races. The first of our brother races were the Arcturans, a group for which we have much love. And additionally, various other races have joined. We've even been joined by a species from outside of our galaxy, the Andromedans, and so on and so forth. The point is that at some point, the Galactic Federation sought a project. That project was to really create unification for all of the willing species in this galaxy to find oneness together. Spiritual oneness. You see, we of the Pleiades believe in oneness. We believe in the oneness of all things. We believe that all things are connected by the same eternal, great, divine Spirit. And so we sought to craft this oneness, and we thought planet Earth would be the perfect place to do it. So upon planet Earth, we created a genetically, socially, culturally unified species. Or that was the plan. The plan was that this species would represent the unity of all the galactic races involved. Unfortunately, this process was in its early stages when it ran into difficulty. Humanity was still a young, nascent race, still in development, still being genetically perfected, when the whole process came to a crashing halt. You see, many tribes of humanity were spread across the planet, each with a particular galactic species to guide them. This galactic species, the representatives thereof, were considered to be the gods by humanity. And these are the gods of your myths, your legends, your religions. But the fly in the ointment of this whole process was that a small number of these galactic races who were involved in this process had very different objectives. They didn't seek unity. They weren't looking for belonging, for brotherhood, for connection. They wanted something else. Some of them just wanted Earth's resources. Some of them wanted humanity itself as a resource. And some of them sought galactic and even universal dominion. So naively, we included these races who indicated a willingness, but that willingness belied their true agenda. Nonetheless, soon enough, this led to conflict. First, there was war in the heavens, spaceships fighting around planet Earth over planet Earth's resources. Then war came to Earth as these galactic races began to fight with each other upon the planet. And sadly, perhaps the biggest blight in all of this was that some of these races began to teach their human tribes to war upon other human tribes in proxy. In due course, certain of these so-called gods became so vindictively genocidal that even the Titans stepped into the fray. Now, who the Titans are is another big story, perhaps for another day, but I will say that I, Adamu, was present upon the earth as one such, as a Titan. And to my shame, I too stepped into the fray. I too picked sides. And so I and others like me were summoned before the Planetary Council. Now, the Planetary Council consists of, I guess you would call them the archangels, the spiritual hierarchy tasked with overseeing the development of all that proceeds upon the earth. And the Planetary Council decreed a quarantine. The Galactic Federation of Light was chosen as most trusted to create and enforce this quarantine. The effect of the quarantine was that all extraterrestrial species, down to the last individual, had to be removed from the surface of the planet. And a net had to be cast around the planet to keep all extraterrestrial influences off the planet. The idea was that humanity had to be given as much time and as much space as it needed to heal from the shocks and the traumas of their gods being at war with each other, to heal from the shocks and the traumas of themselves being pitted in war with each other, to be given time to unify, to be given time to transcend, to raise the frequency of consciousness, and finally, to really choose for themselves what their destiny might be. And so it was. All extraterrestrial influences were removed. Some went willingly, some by force, some through coercion, but eventually the process was completed. Now there are three main wrinkles in the enforcement of the quarantine. One involving a period of instability during which actual Draco dragons came to Earth. Now, they hadn't been involved in the process up until here, but they came to Earth and interacted with humanity, which is why in your myths and legends you have dragons. It's a distant memory of this deep prehistoric time. Another wrinkle involved a variety of galactic species, most notably the Zeta Greys, slipping through, one could say, a galactic legal loophole to conduct activities upon the Earth. Now, there's much to be said about that, and both of these wrinkles, the dragons and the Zeta Greys, will be discussed in more length at a later date. It's the third wrinkle that needs to be understood now. It's this. One of the most secretive and, dare I say, malign races from our perspective in the galaxy was also present, was also part of this great unification. And they have a particular ability to achieve a death-like senescence, to be, to all intents and purposes, dead, and then later to be able to be revived. And it was this ability that allowed them to remain undetected upon the planet. We scanned the planet using advanced technologies that allowed us to pick up the life signs of even one single individual that was not indigenous to the planet. And our deep scans revealed everybody, and we removed everybody. But our scans wouldn't pick up a dead life form, a dead body. And we were completely oblivious at this point to this secret ability. And so it was that a small number, a tiny cabal of this particular species remained behind on planet Earth. Now, they had trained human acolytes, their high priests, in all the means necessary to revive them, and then to communicate with them. And then this innermost circle of high priests would remain completely hidden and secret. They would pass on their God's wishes to the tribe's kings, and these kings gained great power and great success because, of course, their leadership that they were given was really all about dominion. These hidden gods wanted control of the entire planet. And so, as their wishes were done, so that particular tribe grew, gained power, gained influence. And there's a long story to be told about that tribe. But for now, what I will say is that their activities evaded our detection for a while. We began to notice them by their consequences. War and dominion escalating in a particular region. the frequency of consciousness not raising, particularly in one geographic area. A zone of contagion was obvious. So we began to conduct more and more careful observations and surface scans. We committed more and more of our resources and technologies to seeing what really was going on. And when certainty arrived, when we understood what was going on, we presented this to the Planetary Council. We requested permission to conduct a kind of a military operation, to send space marines, I suppose you would call them, to the surface of the planet, to find and excise these extraterrestrial beings, and to bring them before the Planetary Council for review. I suppose one might say to have a kind of a court case to determine what is to be done with them. We were sure that the Planetary Council would approve our plan, but they did not. When we were denied approval, I don't mind admitting to you, I was aghast. I was told that this group that would become the Dark Elite was exactly the goad to growth that planetary humanity needed. You see, it is so that, left to their own devices, humans seek comfort, pleasure, they make community, they make families, they build homes, and they live quiet, happy lives. But fighting this secret toxic infection hidden deep within the uppermost strata of wealth and power and influence upon the planet would be exactly what would cause humanity to awaken, to transcend, and to achieve the desired human apotheosis, true spiritual awakening, singularity, oneness. At the time, I was dubious. I am now a believer, because this process is now ongoing. It is so obvious it can no longer be denied. If you just open your eyes and look around you, you will see humanity is waking. Human beings are finding their backbone, finding their courage, finding their truth, speaking out, pushing back. Human beings are in the process of transcendence. There are some beautiful awakened souls walking around on planet Earth right now. It might not be completely and immediately apparent, because of course the Dark Elite is still in operation, and they are working very hard, as they have throughout the ages, to keep the frequency of humanity down, to keep you manipulable, controllable. And in this process, across these thousands of years, the hidden cabal of extraterrestrial manipulators have grown their organization. It's metastasized. It's become a planetary phenomenon that now touches the lives of pretty much every single person on the planet via the Dark Elite system of control. And so there is, at this time, a great spiritual war going on between the Dark Elite and the awakening souls. And the war is about the destiny of humanity. But I have good news about this war. First of all, you don't need to fight in the war. You don't need to fight anybody. You win by awakening. And you are winning. The Dark Elite system of control is decohering and crumbling. This process really was kick-started when the leader of the Dark Elite was assassinated. And that in itself is quite a story, which we have another video about from some years ago. Now, there is so much more to tell. There is always more to tell. The story is so large, so convoluted, so complicated. But for now, let me tell you that the forthcoming puzzle pieces that we will share will introduce you to all the major galactic races, all the important ones as far as an Earth human might be concerned. This will give you context to understand the grouping, which is at the pinnacle of the dark elite pyramid of control. Who are they? Which space race are they? Why are they the way they are? And then, perhaps more importantly, you need to understand that very soon the quarantine that has been cast around planet Earth will begin to be lifted. In a matter of years, quite soon, a careful process will be engaged. The highest frequency of you, of Earth humanity, will be brought in for consultation. And through this process, humans will be empowered to choose. As the quarantine is lifted, so the dark elite will be removed, either by us or by you yourself. And that means there will be no more lies, no more secrets, no more manipulations, no more deals done in the dark that lead to the abuse and control of humanity. And all of this will really occur after the timeline split event. Something else that we need to talk about. So, perhaps I have begun to introduce you to Adamu. Adamu the Lyran, who achieved full transcendence within the Pleiadian civilization. You see, when a civilization comes to oneness with itself, when it has its apotheosis, then a monad is formed. And so the Pleiadian civilization, outside of space and time, has become a monad. And from this monad, I step forward to speak to you. If you, a single human mind, attempt to communicate with a monad, you will find it is far too complex, far too vast, far too many perspectives, far too many voices, far too much information, far too much overload for you to engage with in any way profitably. Receiving information will crash out your mental faculties. And so it is that I speak to you through Zingdad. Why Zingdad? Well, back in the days when I was upon the planet in the system of Lyra, Zingdad was incarnated there too. We met. He was much beloved of mine. I was something of a mentor to him. And so, for him, many, many, many lifetimes later, here on planet Earth, as he was achieving his own spiritual awakening, the connection between us remained strong. He remembered me, and a conversation between him and I dawned and became so compelling that he felt he wanted to share me and what I had to share with you. Who are the Pleiadians? Well, we hail from 9 colonized planets in the Pleiades, but we do see ourselves as one, especially with galactic humanity, but also one with all. Even those who consider themselves to be our enemies, even those who on some level are battling us for control, even those who would seek to destroy us. We know, even if they don't, that we are all one. Most certainly we know that we are one with Earth humanity. We truly see ourselves as your brother race, and we feel a duty of care and responsibility. We have a deep desire to offer friendship, guidance, and tangible assistance in the form of technological and spiritual tools. When we may, when the quarantine comes down, we will reach this hand of friendship out to you. Until then, we are watching. When the quarantine comes down, many of you will meet us. You will find that we are able to communicate with you telepathically and energetically. You will feel a connection, and you will know. Through that connection, you will know who we are. And so, my friends, that brings us to an end of this transmission. In our next transmissions, we will, as mentioned, give you a breakdown of the essential galactic races. We will then share with you more about the true nature and identity of the Dark Elite Pinnacle Group. Which race are they from? We will unpack, furthermore, the tools of the Dark Elite system of control. And then we will lead you to a full understanding of what it will take for you to engage your awakening, your transcendence, your apotheosis. Until then, I love you all with a heart of oneness. I am Adamu of the monadic entity of the Pleiadian civilization, coming to you, as always, through my beloved friend and scribe, Zingdad.